Ladies, let me tell you something about men that most of us won't admit out loud. A man can love you in silence, and he can love you in ways that don't look like love at first glance. Men are not always equipped to verbalize what they feel, and many times we'd rather stay quiet than put ourselves on the line and risk being hurt. You see, society has trained men to be tough, to be strong, to never show weakness. And for a lot of men, expressing love feels like weakness. It feels like vulnerability. And vulnerability is something most men run from because it scares them to their core. So instead of saying, I love you, they keep it inside, but they still show it through their actions. If you pay attention, you will notice the signs, because no matter how much a man tries to hide it, love always leaks out. Think about the times when someone has been there for you even when you didn't ask. That man who checks on you when he doesn't have to, who notices when your mood is off, who remembers what you said in a conversation months ago. That's not just casual interest, that's investment. Men don't spend their energy like that unless they're tied to something emotionally. See, ladies, men are wired to protect and to provide, even when he's not your man. If he secretly loves you, you'll feel that protection. He'll look out for you in small ways, and most of the time, you won't even realize what he's doing. He'll make sure you get home safe. He'll offer help when you didn't ask. He'll give advice that comes from a place of care, not control. That's love without the label. That's a man saying, I'm here for you, without letting the words escape his lips. Now, let me break down why some men will never tell you how they really feel. The first reason is fear of rejection. Every man has felt rejection at some point in his life. And let me tell you, it hits us harder than you think. A man can act like he's tough, like he can handle it, but deep down, rejection is one of the deepest wounds a man can carry. So if he secretly loves you, he might think, if I say it and she doesn't feel the same, then I lose everything. I lose her presence, her friendship, her smile. I'd rather keep her close and stay quiet than risk losing her forever. And that's why so many men carry silent love. It's not that they don't want to tell you. It's that the thought of losing you scares them more than the thought of never confessing. The second reason is timing. A man could be in love with you, but he may feel like he's not in the right place in life to offer you the love you deserve. Men are very tied to their ability to provide, to feel stable, to feel worthy. A lot of men believe that if they're not financially secure, if their career isn't where they want it to be, if their life feels out of order, then they're not ready to love a woman fully. So they keep quiet. He may love you deeply, but in his mind, he tells himself, when I get it together, then I'll say something. But sometimes that day never comes because life keeps happening and his silence becomes his comfort zone. And then there's pride. Pride keeps men locked up more than anything else. Pride says, don't let her know you care too much. Don't let her know she has power over you. A lot of men equate confessing love with giving up control, and control is something most men cling to. So he hides it. He'll crack jokes. He'll play it cool. He'll pretend he's unfazed, but watch his eyes. The eyes don't lie. His actions don't lie. When you walk in a room, if his whole demeanor changes, if he straightens up, if he suddenly gets quiet or starts doing the most just to be noticed, that's love working behind the scenes. That's his heart slipping through even when his mouth is shut. See, the truth is, love has a way of showing itself whether we like it or not. A man can convince himself that he's hiding it, but you'll notice the little things. You'll notice how he listens to you differently than others do. You'll notice how he puts you first even when it inconveniences him. You'll notice how he sacrifices without mentioning it. That's not just kindness, that's quiet love. And let me tell you something, men don't do things consistently for people they don't care about. Consistency is the real confession. If he's always there, if he keeps showing up, if he remembers the little things, if he's putting in effort without expecting anything in return, then believe me, that man loves you. He just doesn't have the courage or maybe the opportunity to say it. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, if he loves me, why doesn't he just tell me? And I understand that frustration. Women are more open with their emotions. Women will say what they feel because they understand that love is supposed to be expressed. But men are different. For us, silence feels safer. Silence feels like protection. But here's what I want you to understand, even if he never says it. You are not crazy for noticing it. You are not imagining it. If his actions are consistent with love, then that's what it is. Words matter, yes, but actions matter more. And often, actions are the truth that words are too scared to speak. Another thing you have to realize is that sometimes a man will love you silently because he feels you deserve better than what he can offer. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it's real. He looks at you and says, "She's amazing, but I can't give her what she needs right now." So he chooses to stay in the shadows, but his heart won't let him detach completely. So he hangs around, he supports you, he listens, he celebrates you, he stays connected in any way he can. And in his own way, that's his version of loving you. It's not loud, it's not bold, but it's deep. The irony of it all is that many women miss this type of love because they're waiting on a grand confession. They're waiting on flowers, on a dramatic, "I love you" moment, on some movie scene declaration. But life doesn't always work like that. Sometimes love shows up in the quiet moments, in the way he makes sure you're okay, in the way he pays attention to what makes you smile, in the way he notices the details nobody else catches. That's real love, and sometimes it's more powerful than the loudest words. So when you're wondering if a man secretly loves you but will never tell you, don't just listen for his words. Watch his consistency. Watch his actions. Watch how he treats you differently than he treats anyone else. Because a man can hide his mouth, but he can't hide his heart. And when a man loves you, even in silence, you will feel it in ways he could never explain. One of the biggest truths you have to understand about men is that fear is one of the strongest forces that keeps us quiet. A man may have feelings for you so deep that they shake him to his core, but instead of confessing them, he holds back. He loves you in silence because the risk of rejection feels heavier than the reward of honesty. You might think men are confident, bold, and direct when it comes to love, but I'll let you in on a little secret. Most men are not. Most men are terrified of being told, "I don't feel the same way." That single sentence can crush a man's pride, his ego, and his spirit all at once. So what does he do? He loves quietly, carefully, in ways that protect his heart, even while giving you glimpses of how much you mean to him. Now you may ask yourself, why is rejection such a big deal for men? Because men are taught from a young age that we're supposed to win, we're supposed to conquer, we're supposed to pursue and succeed. So when a man puts himself out there and gets rejected, it feels like failure. And failure doesn't sit well with a man. Rejection doesn't just feel like you don't want him, it feels like he isn't enough. That's a heavy blow. And because of that fear, he might decide it's safer to keep loving you in silence than to risk hearing those words. He would rather be the guy who quietly supports you, who shows up for you, who stays in your world than risk losing access to you completely. To him, silence feels like protection, but silence doesn't mean absence. A man who secretly loves you will let it slip in ways he doesn't even realize. Watch how he positions himself in your life. He'll always find ways to be around. He'll volunteer to help with things other people wouldn't care about. He'll send you little reminders that he's thinking of you. He might even act protective in subtle ways, like making sure you're safe, checking on you when you're down, or stepping in to defend you when someone crosses a line. He may never say, "I love you," but his actions will constantly whisper it. Because when a man truly cares, it leaks out no matter how hard he tries to hide it. Sometimes you'll notice he gets nervous around you. He may stumble over his words, try too hard to be funny, or suddenly get quiet when the conversation shifts in a deeper direction. That's not indifference, that's his heart wrestling with his head. He wants to say something, but the fear of rejection grips him. So he smiles instead, he laughs it off. He changes the subject. You might even think maybe he's not interested. But that's the tricky part. Interest isn't always loud. Sometimes it hides behind hesitation. Sometimes it shows itself in the things he doesn't say. Another thing you need to know is that men play out scenarios in their heads before they act. If he loves you but hasn't told you, it's because he's already imagined what could happen if you don't feel the same way. He's pictured the awkwardness, the distance that might form, the friendship that could be ruined. And to him, that possibility is unbearable. So he chooses the safer option, stay quiet, stay close, love from a distance, and hope that maybe one day the timing or the circumstances will be different. In his mind, silence preserves the connection, even if it keeps him unfulfilled. But here's the thing, fear can't completely silence love. Even if he never says the words, you'll see it in his patterns. He will always make sure you feel valued in little ways. He'll remember things you said long after everyone else forgot. He'll notice when something's off with you, even if you didn't tell anyone. He'll go out of his way to ease your stress or brighten your day. These are not random gestures. They're deliberate. They're consistent, and they're fueled by emotion he can't quite confess. That's how love works when it's buried under fear. It still finds ways to breathe. Sometimes the fear isn't just rejection. It's also the fear of vulnerability. Men are conditioned to believe vulnerability is weakness. Saying, "I love you," without knowing how you'll respond feels like handing over all the power. And men guard their pride like a shield. So even though he wants to tell you, he swallows the words because vulnerability makes him feel exposed. He worries, what if she laughs? What if she changes how she looks at me? What if I lose her completely? And that worry becomes stronger than the desire to confess. So he hides it. But again, hiding words doesn't mean hiding feelings. The love is there. It just shows up differently. You might notice it in the way he looks at you. Eyes tell the story the mouth refuses to speak. When you're around, his gaze lingers a little longer. He pays attention when you talk, not half-heartedly, but fully present. When you share your dreams, your struggles, your victories, he listens like every word matters. That's not casual. That's love operating in silence. A man who doesn't care won't give you that much attention, but a man who secretly loves you can't help but be captivated even when he's trying to act cool. Now, let's be real, some men will carry that secret love for years. They'll be the friend, the confidant, the supporter, all while hiding the depth of their feelings. And sometimes they may never say it. But does that make it less real? No, silent love is still love. It still influences how he treats you, how he prioritizes you, how he shows up for you. It may not come with the words you want to hear, but it's written in his behavior every single day. What's powerful to understand is that rejection isn't always about you. If he doesn't confess, it's not because he thinks you're not worth it. It's because he's terrified he's not enough for you. That's the root of it. Men often measure themselves by what they can provide, by how strong they appear, by how much control they maintain. Love challenges all of that. Love requires risk, honesty, and vulnerability, three things men aren't naturally comfortable with. So silence becomes their safe zone. But even in that safe zone, the love is alive, thriving, and showing itself in quiet, meaningful ways. So when you're wondering whether a man secretly loves you but will never tell you, remember this: fear is powerful. Fear of rejection, fear of vulnerability, fear of losing what little he already has with you. Those fears silence his mouth, but not his heart. His love will come through in actions, in the way he consistently shows up, in the way he notices the small details, in the way he protects you without making a big deal out of it. If you pay attention, you'll see it clear as day. Because even when a man never says the words, his love has a language all its own, and that language is impossible to silence completely. When a man secretly loves you but never says it, one of the biggest giveaways is how he protects and defends you, even when you don't notice it. A man's love isn't always loud in words, but it's loud in action. If he feels something for you, you'll see it in how he positions himself when you're around. Men are natural protectors by design. We may not always talk about love openly, but when it comes to the woman who holds our heart, we can't help but step into that protector role. Even when he hasn't confessed his feelings, he's going to make sure you're safe. He's going to look out for you, and he's going to stand up for you when you're not there to defend yourself. That's his way of showing you love without ever saying, "I love you." Think about the times you've seen a man who's always checking in when you're headed somewhere late at night. He might say, "Text me when you get home," or "Call me if you need anything." That's not just being polite. That's him making sure he has peace of mind because your safety matters to him. He won't call it love. He won't dress it up as romance. He'll act like it's no big deal, but deep down, that's his love in action. Men protect what they value. A man doesn't waste energy worrying about a woman he doesn't care about. If he's protective, if he's watchful, if he's always subtly putting himself in a position where he can help you if you need it, that's his silent way of loving you. Sometimes protection shows up in little gestures you don't even realize are love. Like when you're walking on the street and he automatically shifts you to the inside so he's closer to the curb. Or when you're cold and without hesitation, he gives you his jacket. Or when you're stressed and he steps in with solutions or encouragement because he can't stand to see you struggle. These little things might seem casual, but they're not. Men don't extend themselves like that for just anybody. When a man does these things consistently, it's because he cares for you on a level he's not ready to say out loud. Now, let's talk about how men defend the women they love. When a man has secret feelings for you, he will speak up for you even when you're not around. If someone disrespects you, he won't just sit there in silence. He'll push back. He'll make it clear that you deserve respect. That's his way of guarding your name, guarding your dignity, and showing loyalty to you without you even knowing it. That's love in action. And let me tell you, loyalty is one of the biggest ways men express love. A man might not tell you how he feels, but if he's loyal to you, if he consistently has your back, if he defends you when others try to tear you down, that's because his heart is invested. You might also notice how he positions himself in your life. He'll try to be dependable. He'll show up when you need help, even before you ask. If your car breaks down, if you're moving to a new place, if you've got something heavy going on, he'll be there. And the thing is, he won't make it about him. He'll act like it's no big deal. But the truth is he's doing it because he cares deeply. When a man secretly loves you, his sense of responsibility toward you increases. He feels connected to your well-being even if he never says the words. Now, ladies, one thing you have to understand is that men protect not just physically, but emotionally too. If he secretly loves you, he'll want to shield you from pain. He might encourage you when you're doubting yourself. He might remind you of your worth when you're feeling low. He'll celebrate your wins like they're his own because your happiness makes him happy. That's a kind of emotional protection. He wants to guard your spirit, not just your safety. And the funny thing is, he may never label it as love, but love is exactly what it is. A man who secretly loves you will also pay attention to the people you let into your life. He may not always say it outright, but if he sees someone treating you poorly, he won't like it. He might give you subtle warnings like, be careful with that person, or I don't think he's good for you. He's not being controlling. He's being protective. He sees something that doesn't sit right with him. And because he cares, he wants you safe from disappointment or harm. That's how men show love indirectly. He's watching your blind spots. He's scanning for threats even when you don't notice. And let's not forget the sacrifices. When a man loves you, even silently, he'll make sacrifices you may not even see. He'll adjust his schedule to be available for you. He'll give up his time, his energy, sometimes even his comfort, just to make sure you're okay. He may not announce it. He may not want credit for it. But those sacrifices are evidence of his love. Men don't sacrifice for just anyone. Sacrifice is reserved for the people who truly matter. Now, I want you to think about how he reacts when someone else treats you wrong. Pay attention to his energy when you're hurt by someone else. Does he get angry? Does he step in? Does he try to protect you from further pain? That reaction isn't just sympathy, it's love. A man who feels nothing won't be moved when you're mistreated. But a man who secretly loves you will feel it like it happened to him. He'll want to shield you, defend you, or at least comfort you. That's love in its rawest form, even if it's never spoken. Sometimes that protection shows up in the way he pushes you to do better. He'll challenge you when you're selling yourself short. He'll remind you of your potential. He might even get a little frustrated when he sees you settling for less than you deserve. That's because he sees your value and he wants the world to treat you like the queen you are. That's protective love. That's him standing guard over your self-worth, even if he doesn't say the words, I love you. You see, men have this instinct. We protect what we love, we guard what we value, and we defend what we're invested in. So if you notice a man who always has your back, who steps up when you need him, who treats your safety, your peace, and your dignity like they matter deeply to him, then believe me, he loves you. He may never confess it because fear or pride keeps him silent, but his actions are louder than any words could be. That's the thing about men. Sometimes our mouths don't do the talking, but our hearts do, and our hearts show themselves through the way we protect, the way we defend, the way we sacrifice. If a man is doing that for you, even when he has no obligation, even when he calls it just being a friend or just looking out, What he's really doing is loving you the only way he knows how, through action. And no matter how much he tries to hide it, you'll feel it, because real love, even in silence, is impossible to disguise. I don't care how much a man tries to hide his feelings. His eyes and his energy will always tell on him. A man might never open his mouth and say, "I love you." But the moment you walk in the room, everything about him changes. The way his body shifts, the way his tone softens, the way his whole spirit lights up, those are confessions he can't control. He may be able to silence his words, but he can't silence his energy. And love always shows up in energy. You can feel it. You can sense it. You may not be able to explain it, but you know when a man feels something for you because it radiates off of him. When a man secretly loves you, his eyes will lock onto you differently than with anyone else. He studies your face. He notices your expressions. He catches the small details, like how you raise your eyebrow when you're skeptical, or the way you smile when you're trying not to laugh. He remembers your favorite color, your favorite food, the things that make you laugh, the things that make you cry. His eyes follow you even when he's trying not to let anyone see. That's because when a man loves you, he can't help but admire you, and that admiration spills out every time you enter his space. You might think he's just being nice, just being friendly, but pay attention to his body language. When he secretly loves you, his body leans toward you without him realizing it. He faces you when you talk, gives you his full attention, and reacts to you differently than he reacts to others. If you laugh, he laughs harder. If you're upset, he feels it like it's his own pain. If you succeed, he celebrates like he just won too. That's his energy telling the truth his words refuse to confess. And let's talk about the way he gets nervous. A man who secretly loves you will sometimes stumble when you're around. He'll crack jokes that don't even make sense. He'll try to act cool, but you can see right through it. That nervousness, that's his heart trying to protect itself while still giving itself away. Because love makes men clumsy. It makes us overthink. It makes us second guess every move, every word, because deep down we care so much about how you see us. That's not casual behavior. That's love in disguise. Sometimes his energy shows in silence. You'll catch him looking at you when you're not paying attention. His eyes will linger a second too long, then he'll quickly look away like nothing happened. But that glance, that's everything. That glance says, "I see you. I appreciate you. I love you, even if I can't say it." Men don't waste that kind of attention on women they don't care about. If his eyes always find you in a room full of people, if he seems tuned into your presence even without trying, then that's love working undercover. Energy also shows up in the way he prioritizes you. He may not tell you with words, but look at how he treats your time. Does he make room for you even when he's busy? Does he respond to you quicker than he does to others? Does he show up when you need him, no matter what's going on? That's energy revealing what words hide. A man's priorities are where his love lives. If you're consistently high on his list, that's because his heart is invested, even if his mouth hasn't caught up yet. Now, sometimes you'll see it in the way he encourages you. He'll hype you up, push you to chase your dreams, and celebrate your wins like he's your biggest fan. That's love shining through. Because when a man secretly loves you, your happiness matters to him. Your growth matters. Your peace matters. He can't help but feed into your light because he wants to see you shine. And even though he may never say, "I love you," the way he invests energy into uplifting you says it louder than words ever could. Pay attention to how his mood shifts around you. When he's with you, he's lighter. He laughs more. He relaxes. He feels at home. That's not coincidence. That's the comfort of love. A man can't fake that kind of energy. He may try to hide his feelings, but the joy that comes from simply being near you will always give him away. He may even get a little protective of your attention, noticing who else you talk to, who else makes you laugh. He won't say anything, but his energy shifts when he feels like he might lose your focus. That's love mixed with fear, and it shows no matter how hard he tries to disguise it. Sometimes it's the little things that scream the loudest. The way he remembers how you like your coffee, the way he adjusts his schedule to fit yours, the way he listens closely, not just hearing your words, but catching the emotions behind them. These things might seem small, but they are acts of love. And love, even unspoken, is always in the details. Men don't put that much effort into remembering or adjusting for women they don't care about. When he does those things, it's because his heart is already yours, whether he says it or not. You'll also notice how he struggles when you're hurting. If you're going through something tough, he feels it too. He wants to fix it, to make it better, even if he doesn't know how. He'll sit with you, check in on you, or find ways to lift your spirits. That's not obligation. That's love showing itself in care. He may not confess his feelings, but his inability to stay unaffected by your pain says everything. A man who feels nothing won't carry your burdens. But a man who secretly loves you will feel your pain like it's his own, because your heart is connected to his in ways he can't explain. And when you succeed, notice how he reacts. If he's genuinely excited, if he celebrates you without jealousy, if he takes pride in your wins like they're personal victories, that's love. Men don't celebrate like that for women they don't feel for. That kind of joy, that kind of pride, that kind of encouragement, that's his heart clapping for you, even if his mouth is silent. The truth is, a man's energy never lies. He can put on an act with his words, he can act cool, he can hide behind jokes or silence, but his energy will always betray him. His eyes, his attention, his consistency, his protection, his excitement, his nervousness. All of that tells you the real story. Love doesn't always need to be announced. Sometimes it's simply felt. And if you pay attention, you'll notice that his energy with you is different than it is with anyone else. That difference is where the truth lies. So if you ever wonder whether a man secretly loves you but will never tell you, don't just listen for his words. Watch his eyes. Feel his energy. Notice how he shows up for you, how he protects you, how he celebrates you, how he can't help but light up when you're around. Because at the end of the day, words can lie, but energy never does. And when a man loves you, even in silence, his energy will confess the truth every single time.